Hey, what's up, guys? It's your boy Limited Talks here, and today we're gonna be looking at a new leak of Spider-Man Far From Home. Now, this is leaked by 4chan. We all know that 4chan should be taken with a grain of salt because not everything on 4chan is true. Most of the time, it's false. But again, it's always kind of fun to read what other people think will happen in the show. Now, of course, he's leaked information on I leaked information on Sony's plans here earlier and was asked to break down the plot. Now I don't know about the earlier ones, but this is like Acts 1 and 2 he leaked. Like he said, like this is what Act 1 and 2 will be like. So what do you think about that?
I don't look at 4chan, so I don't really know
It's called 4chan. But 4chan is kind of like, it's like a forum thing where like people can like make like a post and then people can like respond to that post.
Oh, so kind of like Reddit or
kind of like Reddit or Facebook. Yeah, you give some people like they close it down so that way it's just like you can just kind of archive it in the sense so that way you just know where it is.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so here's what he says. I originally worked with Marvel Studios in a more minor capacity, but moved to work at Sony years ago. I've seen a rough cut of No Way Home that was roughly 3 hours and 20 minutes long. Which, mind you, I mean, again, this is a rough cut, right? But if the movie stays at 3 hours and 20 minutes long, that would be the longest Marvel movie that they've ever made.
Yeah.
Which is way longer than Endgame, which it makes sense. I mean, like if you think about all the stuff they're bringing in, the multiverse, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield.
So that way it doesn't feel rushed.
It does feel rushed, of course. There was unfinished CGI in many Animax. Wait, is that Animax?
I guess that's how you say it, right? Animax.
Animax used to stand in for footage slated for additional photography. However, I have read the script, and even though much changed that to filming, I can answer questions using that as a baseline for things that will not present in this cut. Okay, so here's where it begins. Film opens with an immediate aftermath of the events of Far From Home, which is like when Quentin Beck revealed his identity. Peter as Spidey is on the run and ends up surrounded by SWAT and police helicopters on top of the Empire State Building, Statue of Liberty. Peter escapes using the helicopters to swing back to the city and hides out in the back of a feast truck, moving his mask in exhaustion as he rests on the pile of clothes he's sitting on. So Marvel Studios intro plays, which then cuts to the Daily Bugle bulletin board with J. Jonah Jameson, which is recapping Far From Home. Some new Beck footage here as a leak mentions the new capsule on Statue of Liberty as a gift from Wakanda and a show of support for Sam Wilson as Cap. Which we all know, because if we understand, like if you saw Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Sam Wilson becomes Captain America at like on the 6th episode.
Yes.
So it makes sense that they're all kind of, as in everything kind of ties together. I mean, some people may not kind of get that, but maybe it's like, okay, maybe I should go watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier to kind of get that reference.
Right.
So it'd be interesting. Which is followed by a scene of Peter in court. He's being defended by Matt Murdock, which you know who that is, right? Which is played by Charlie Cox, who is trying to convince the jury that Peter Parker is not Spider-Man. They don't appear to be trying to prove Spider-Man innocent, just Peter. The court is adjourned for the day, and Peter speaks with Matt, May, and Happy. As they exit, we see various mysterious supporters protesting in front of the courthouse, along with people who believe Peter is being framed. Peter meets Ned and MJ at a bakery they work at. They discuss the identity reveal and show Peter a Midtown High news video that was made discussing the topic. Flash is shown denying that Penis Parker could ever be as cool as Spider-Man. Of course, it's Flash Thompson. You got to throw in a little jab, right?
Yeah.
Before starting to cry and telling them to stop filming him.
Okay.
It's just because like he really likes Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And there's no way that and some of the call him Puny Parker.
Well, yeah, if your hero is viewed as one way and it ends up being somebody that you don't see them as, and obviously he doesn't like him, Peter Parker as a person, for it to come out that that's who Spider-Man is, well, obviously he's never going to believe that.
Yeah.
That's not what he conjured up in his mind, so that makes sense.
So far, this kind of sounds legit, doesn't it? Like
it sounds like a really interesting way to start a movie, yeah.
Yeah, but it does make sense that because it shouldn't immediately pick up from where Far From Home ended, right? It shouldn't be like, oh, 2 months later he's on the run. He's still on the run. I mean, it makes sense that to immediately pick up where it got left off.
Continuation.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Peter has a nightmare about Beck goading him. No, it should be gloating, right? Because
No, goading him. That means like egging him on.
egging him on. Okay,
Yeah.
goading him about winning and how this will destroy everything Peter has. Gyllenhaal returns for this scene. Peter shoots awake and goes for a nighttime sweep to Ned's house. Ned's mother lets him in, and Peter speaks with Ned about his concerns regarding how this is affecting their friendship and his relationship with MJ. But Ned promises Peter that they both have his back. So the next day, Peter arrives to the courthouse with Matt, Happy, and May, meeting Ned and MJ at the door. They're suddenly overwhelmed by a group of Mysterio supporters. Peter tries to get everyone out of there while using his powers, but struggles until he is teleported to the Sanctum Sanctorum with Ned, MJ, Happy, and May. Which makes sense because it's already been known that like Doctor Strange is going to be in this film. It's already been confirmed that he's going to be in this film.
Right.
So again, like when it comes to leaks like this, they always say like like these certain characters are for sure confirmed. And like we all know that Doctor Strange is confirmed, Alfred Molina is confirmed, Jamie Foxx is confirmed. We don't know. No one really knows about Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, but I'm pretty sure those two. I'm pretty sure they're confirmed as of right now.
It's enough speculation for you to believe that they'll be in the movie.
They'll be in the movie.
Yeah.
I believe that like a bunch of these other characters are gonna be coming back. Like Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin will be returned for his role. From what I seen, like there's been a lot of like rumors of saying like Willem Dafoe is gonna reprise his role.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So Strange appears in his astral form and tells Peter that there is a multiversal threat that he's dealing with individuals being taken from their home worlds. He states that he brought Peter and his friends to the sanctum for safety from great threats from from those worlds. When Strange leaves, Peter, Ned, and MJ explore the sanctum and come across the door, which leads to the multiversal holding in which Strange is keeping multiverse stowaways. The CGI is unfinished here, of course, because they're not. Again, it's a rough cut, so not everything's gonna be finished, but you kind of get the basics of it, right? But the script details multiple beings from across the Marvel multiverse are among those shown, including Molina as Octavius and Fox as Electro. Ned engages with them, and they recount their deaths from their respective movies and claim to want fresh starts in the MCU. This resonates with Peter, who rashly decides to let them go. He's then attacked by Ark when Doctor Strange appears to protect Peter. Electro attacks Strange, who holds him back a continuous blast of lightning while Octo escapes. Electro redirects the lightning into the ceiling and follows Otto, while Strange protects Ned and MJ from debris. So, I mean, this kind of follows the same, like, one that we read a couple, like, days ago, remember? Doctor Strange is holding these, like, captives in, right? But what's interesting, we don't see, like, the other characters. Like, we don't see, like, Green Goblin, Sandman. We don't see those guys. Maybe it's because, again, we don't know, like, how far, like, the shooting has been. Okay, but I know shooting is over. But we don't know how much of the details, like, even, probably this guy even knows, right?
Right.
There's probably something out there. It's like, okay, I don't want to reveal everything yet, because again, I mean, this makes sense. Like those two events line up, like Otto and Electro are in like some type of multiversal prison. So it makes sense the fact that they're there, right?
Right.
Peter leaves the sanctum suited up and attempts to catch them, but Paul Giamatti's vinyl attacks, which is from the Amazing Spider-Man 2. It's that guy. He's the guy with the mechanical vinyl suit.
Oh, okay.
Attacks. Rampaging down the street, he attempts to take him down in a sequence that only can be described as a destructive bull ride and is almost at Vinyl's mercy until a manhole cover crashes into him, knocking him over, and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man enters the fight and banter with Vinyl and Peter before the two decides to use the Empire Strikes Back method together to take him down. Which, because again, we saw that in Civil War where Peter, like, have you guys seen that really old movie?
Hey guys, you ever seen that really old movie? Empire Strikes Back?
Well, like, it's like, wait, the kid's on to something.
Right.
So, and boom, that's the end of Act 1.
Okay.
So, Act 1, what do you think?
Really interesting. That's also including, like, him being in court, right?
That's also him including me in court, yes.
I think that's an interesting way to, approach a movie, especially in the beginning, since it is supposed to be a continuation of the story. And then adding in details like Doctor Strange trying to keep people, the
villains.
Yeah, the villains in, like, contained prison. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah. There's also another thing, too. When I saw, like, he does, like, he get hit by a manhole cover, I think of The Amazing Spider-Man 2 at, like, the very end. Andrew Garfield, like, he has a manhole cover. He's just swinging and around and just hits Rhino with it. That's probably gonna be like the same exact scene, but just gonna be kind of continuing on from that scene. So here we go. We're going into Act 2. So MCU's Peter and Andrew's Peter regroup and introduce themselves to each other. They have an instant connection and start to geek out about each other's web shooters and express confusion about why Andrew is here until Strange transports them back to the sanctum and sends Rhino to the multiversal prison. I mean, I think that's gonna be like a funny scene though. Like those two just like, if all three of them like all meet together, they're all gonna be probably geeking out because like oh my god, you're Spider-Man. I'm also Spider-Man.
Right. I think they're gonna think that that's kind of cool that like you weren't alone in this and you didn't realize that. But two, what it said about them geeking out about their web shooters.
Yeah.
Maybe they're gonna compare like how they did and what type of like webbing they use. So I think that's kind of cool.
He explains the multiverse to the two P's and said he brought Andrew's Peter to help the MCU Peter track down the escaped villains, as Strange is too busy with a greater threat to hunt them back down. The scene ends with May, Ned, and MJ walking on the two Peters and expressing confusion. Tom's Peter asks where they should start looking, because again, like it makes sense. Like you see two Peters, like but again, like like which Peter is yours because he looks like Peter Parker, right?
Right.
But it's like, there's two Spider-Man? I thought, oh my god, it's bad enough. It's bad enough. There's one. Now there's two.
Right.
So Ock and Electro are shown entering an abandoned Oscorp facility and are met with William Dafoe's Norman Osborn. So in this one, William Dafoe is not in the prison. He's kind of all the way out.
Okay.
Which I guess it doesn't make sense the fact that like maybe William Dafoe is not in the prison just because. A lot of people are gonna say like, well, how the heck are they alive? Because I thought like they just died, you know?
Right, and how are you in this universe able to like thrive?
Yeah, because it says like this, like Alfred Molina even asked the director that. He said like, listen, no one truly ever dies because you can take like you can say like you're from multiverse that who never died, right? That's kind of that's kind of how it works. So Osborn claims to be one of many who hold a grudge against Spider-Man for killing him. He recounts his death from Spider-Man, which is from 2002, and offers the villains not only a way to get revenge on their spiders, but a chance to stay in the MCU forever. Heroes reveal that Otto is actually the tentacles taking control of the Ock's consciousness while he was at the brink of death. Electro and Ock agreed to Norman's plan and joined forces with him. Okay, so Otto is actually the tentacles. Actually makes sense because Otto is technically Otto's like always like he's supposed to be depicted as like really old, right?
Right.
So it makes sense the fact that like the tentacles take over for him because the tentacles have the mind of their own because they can always just take control of anything they want.
That makes sense.
Yeah. The two peers talk about constants on their universe in an attempt to figure out where Electro went and have a conversation which mentions Andrew's Gwen Stacy and Uncle Ben, while Peter mentions Tony and his Ben before quickly moving off the topic. When Andrew claims that there is no Tony Stark on his Earth and that Oscorp is an industrial giant of his world, MJ brings up the existence of Oscorp in the MCU and shows the Peters an article saying Oscorp Industries have purchased the Avengers Tower and is the first non-Stark company to have access to the arc reactor power. When Peter explains to Andrew what an arc reactor is, they both assume Electro is going after the reactor and head to the tower. So think about this. So pretty much so this is kind of like a scene of explaining of like in Andrew Garfield's world there is no Tony Stark, and in fact that Oscorp is completely different than what the MCU's Peter Parker has.
Exactly.
And in fact it's like, you know, in this world, Peter, MCU's Peter, he has no idea who Gwen Stacy is.
That's what I was gonna say. And Harry Osborn is he in his universe?
But they're both. No, okay, so in MCU, we have never actually seen Harry Osborn.
That's what I was going to say.
Because we've never seen Harry or Norman Osborn, like,
Right.
ever. But in, the original trilogy, which is, Tobey Maguire's, we've seen, we all know this. Pretty much they're all still alive. All the villains are still alive out there somewhere. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy the fact that, like, we're gonna be able to see, like, all these villains interact and be like, wait a minute. So in this universe, because they know they died,
Right.
but again, it's just like a moment before they died. They remember dying, but this is like taking like moments like before they died, but they still know it happened.
Oh, it's kind of like I don't want to ruin anything. I can't say anything about Loki. Never mind.
Yeah, we watched Loki. It was really good, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't want to ruin anything, so never mind.
So they are proven why when they count Electro attempting to break into the tower. A brief fight commences between the Peters and Electro before they are entered by the presence of Wise. God, I cannot say these actors' names, man. Wise Ifan's Lizard.
Yeah, that's as close as I would get.
Wise Ifan's Lizard. MCU's Peter chases after Electro, who has entered the tower's power supply to find the reactor, while Andrew has a rematch with the Lizard. MCU's Peter chases Electro to the river where the arc reactor sits. Peter watches as he absorbs the arc reactor energy and is blasted by a mega charged Electro. Arc is seen removing the reactor with his tentacle arms before both he and Electro escape. Andrew struggling to fight Lizard, who he remarks is a lot stronger than last time, when Peter rejoins the fight. Ultimately, the Lizard escapes, and the Peter's quip about not being used to fighting so many supervillains at once, which makes sense. They're not used to fighting they're used to fighting like 1-on-1. They're not used to fighting like 2-on-1 or 3-on-1, multiple people at the same time. That's why I think the Sinister Six is such a cool idea, because six of Spider-Man's most deadliest heroes fighting against him,
Right.
to become pretty much. It's like Peter's never fought against them like 6-on-1, but together it makes it a lot easier if they all fight together. What I do like to see is the fact that we're not seeing all of them all together immediately, like all the Sinister Six together.
Yeah, it's like a build up.
We're kind of seeing like them kind of appearing. Like we do see the two confirmed characters, Alfred Molina and Jamie Foxx. Then we're gonna see characters like William Dafoe or the Lizard come in. So it's pretty. It's pretty cool to see like it's slowly building up to that. But it's not gonna be immediate. It's not gonna be immediate. You're gonna see, oh yeah, the Sinister Six immediately. So Arc brings the reactor back to the Oscorp facility, and Electro remarks on the power it generates. Osborn tells Electro to overpower it, and which will create a brief rift in reality. Lizard returns and informs Osborn that the Peters are defeated but not dead. Upon hearing that, Osborn tells Arc that it's time to get to work, and they begin finishing a device Norman created to channel the arc energy that created rifts that let them teleport the multiverse at will. Peter and Andrew sit at a rooftop and talk about their failings at Spidey. Peter brings up the very incident, Tony's death, and Mysterio's victory in retaliation to his freeing of the villains, and how he keeps making mistakes that cost him. Andrew speaks about Captain Stacy, the Connors, Harry, and Gwen, and how being Spider-Man comes with a cost, but they have to keep doing the right thing with their abilities regardless. The conversation takes a lighter turn as the heroes discuss the ways they've used their powers for everyday stuff. Andrew's Peter makes a comment about web shooting to beat the traffic to work, which again is gonna be another funny scene to see. Like, hey, listen, I don't use my powers for good. Sometimes I had to beat. Traffic was really bad one day. I had to swing, man. It sucked.
Yeah, especially in New York. So.
Yeah, but I think like when it comes to Spider-Man, you always gonna have this. Always gonna be something happening. Like when Captain people always bring up the fact like Spider-Man always loses something, no matter what. In fact, it's even brought up that he pretty much he's gonna say like I even actually killed my girlfriend.
Right.
Like he's like, but I had to keep moving forward because I know it was the right thing to do. When the fact that she would tell me you had to keep moving forward to be sure that the world is safe. And in fact, it's gonna be kind of a heartwarming scene, because if you're especially like a fan of the Amazing an Amazing Spider-Man series and be like, yeah, I like this scene. Just those two just talking. The two are interrupted by an earthquake, and as Osborn is testing the multiversal whip device, he sent Thomas Hayden's church Sandman through the rift, claiming that he's going home. Sandman steps through, but before the others can enter the rift, the two spies show up to stop them. They engage in a fight with Arc and Lizard while Electro struggles to contain the Arc energy. The rifts become chaotic and drag in the two Spider-Men along with Lizard. The spies are flung into the street while Lizard isn't seen landing as the rift closes. Osborn, Arc, and Electro watch the rift close on their end. The facility in ruins. Osborn comments they need a larger conductor as his eyes is drawn to a poster of the new Statue of Liberty. So wait, hold on. I want to know something. Engaged in a fight with Arc and Electro, while Electro struggles to contain the Arc, which becomes chaotic and drags the two Spider-Man along with Wizard. So I want to know if there was an alternate timeline along with this, because remember, this is like supposed to be like where Captain America had, like, you know, Statue of Liberty has a shield because of Captain America. So I want to know, is this an alternate reality? Which, could this be technically Tobey Maguire's universe? Now I'm not saying this is, but I think it'd be interesting. The two Peters come to check in on each other before they're attacked by the Sandman, who is largely in human form here using sand weapons. They struggle to fight him as he manages to slip through every gap until he's knocked down by a large blast of water. He melts into the drains on the street, with the Peters watching until they look towards a nearby fire hydrant, which appears to have been bent towards Sandman with brute strength. They appear and find a note attached to it by a web. I can't remember exactly, but it was addressed in Forest Hills labeled home. The Peters arrive at a house in Queens wearing civilian clothing. They discuss possibilities of who the note could be from, including alternate Earth, Shield agents from MCU's Peters, to which Andrew responds with a shudder. They knock on the door, which appears to be Kristen Dunst as Mary Jane Watson, who invites them in. She hands them cocoa in the living room, while Remy-verse J. Jonah Jameson rants on TV about Quest Aerospace merging with Stark International. Mary Jane remarks that he'll be down in a second. The Peters share a look before a man enters his room and sits on a chair in front of them. Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker, he remarks, "So who are you guys?" So yeah, what do you think about this whole entire leak? So this is Act 1 and 2, because remember there's always 3 acts to a film. So I think this, like, the climax probably would be them opening up the multiverse, right?
Right.
And then the third and the final act will be pretty much all 3 Spider-Man coming together to even talk and even like say, listen, this is a multiverse threat. It's like, and Tobey Maguire's like, stop what you're doing, stop talking, I'm in. He's like, hey, you don't gotta say anything. Like, wait, what? You're in? It's like, yeah. I mean, hey, listen, multiverse threat. As I'm a Spider-Man in a while, man. I need something to do.
Right.
So anyway, what do you think about this plot leak?
I think it's pretty interesting. That's a good prospect. I'm not somebody that whenever they leak things that I necessarily believe it. I like to wait till like they do a trailer and then I think about what I feel like is going to happen. But based on a lot of the things that they put in the description, I feel like a lot of that could actually happen. Yeah,
I feel like there's a lot of information here that like it sounds like legit. Like this guy, he's seen a lot, right?
Right.
Now again, this is from 4chan, so that doesn't mean that it's real, right?
Right.
Doesn't mean that's actually like the legit leaks.
Right.
But it sounds like it sounds almost exactly kind of like linear along with like other leaks that we heard, which is like Alfred Molina and Jamie Foxx are in like some of the villains could be inside, you know, like this like multiverse like prison. It makes sense that like it's gonna line up with it.
Right.
So I think that this is a really good leak. If it's legit, I mean, holy crap, this is gonna be like an insane film.
Right.
I think it should be like 3+ hours. I would imagine it should be, right?
Right, with all the material that they have, I don't see how it could be under 3 hours.
Yeah. Not to say just kind of like speed rush everything, but I don't think the fact that they will. I think
didn't see them doing
because
that.
I think they are going to really explain everything, like of like why in this universe something doesn't make sense. Like this universe, this changes because again, like every single villain will know how they died,
Right.
but it'd be like it's one alternate take on like they're all still alive, but they know how they died. So, man, I would love to see this movie. In fact, we still don't have a trailer. We don't have a trailer, man. It sucks, man. Well, that's what you guys today. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.